Hey guys, Rob from Night Solutions Canada. Now we just got a shipment in of some brand new thermal products from a company called Nocpix. So I figured I would take a second to sit behind the desk here, as I usually do, and give you a quick overview of some of the products that we have brought in. Now we do have a bunch of products to go through in this overview, and because I don't want to take the next 17 years of your life, let's just jump right into it. All right, so I have a rather large thermal scope in my hands right now, but before I tell you about it, let me just kind of cover the general basics about how Nocpix goes about naming conventions and model sort of tiers within models and across product groups here. So in my hands here, which I'll talk about more in detail in a second, is their ACE H50. Okay, now when it comes to their naming convention, that H50, Nocpix names all of their things generally with a letter, a number, and then maybe followed by another letter. And before I confuse you, I'll touch on that in a second. So this is the H50. The ACE also comes in the S60R, the H50R, the H50, and the L35. So let's break that down, right? So that letter at the beginning, S, H, L, or P in some cases, is generally sort of denotes the quality or the resolution of the sensor that's in it. S being the highest, P on the lower end being the lowest. Now, we haven't really figured out exactly what they mean other than S is maybe super or superior, H is something like high, L is something like low, and P, we're not sure, but maybe it stands for the poors. I don't really know, but that's what we're going to roll with here, okay? So let's sort of go back to what I'm holding in my hands. This is the ACE H50, so it's sort of in the mid-range there. It doesn't have an R on the end, and the R in all model cases stands for rangefinder if the optic itself has a rangefinder built in. Now this specific model, H50, it does not. It's a higher resolution sensor. It's not their superior. And the 50, what that corresponds to is the lens size. This is a 50 millimeter lens. If you were to follow that logic, the S60R has a 60 millimeter lens, and the ACE L35 has a 35 millimeter lens, just so we're sort of wrapping that up. Now, in terms of this specific scope, the H50 specifically, it comes with a 640 by 512 sensor, and that is at 12 microns at 60 hertz refresh rate. Again, I had sort of already noted this. It's a 50 millimeter lens. This is a hunting scope, so you'd probably expect some sort of magnification, in which case you are correct. Natively, this is a 3 times optical zoom. The optical zoom range within that is 1 to 3. So if you multiply those together, really what you're getting is an optical zoom of 3 to 9 in terms of a range. Now, a quick note on that magnification. Unlike some of the other devices, which I'll cover in a minute here, this is purely an optical zoom only. So that 3 to 9 sort of range doesn't offer any sort of digital zoom or an enhanced zoom past that 3 to 9 range. Just something for you to kind of consider. That keeps the optical clarity perfect for hunting applications. Now, as I had mentioned before, because this is the H50, it does not have the rangefinder built in, but you do have the option of having a rangefinder in the H50R as well as the S60R. For this scope specifically, it has dual power function, so it does have an onboard battery that you can charge through USB-C, as well as the capability of adding an 18650 as backup or to run primarily. Again, pick your poison, it's up to you. Now, additionally, this has the ability to capture footage, whether that be pictures or video, and even more additionally, it has the ability to activate that footage upon hearing the sound of a breaking shot. All right, next in the tier list here. It's not an ordered tier list, but we'll call it that anyway. So this is called the Vista. This is not a gun-mounted optical device in this sense. It's actually a handheld, like you're seeing me hold it here. This is the Vista S50R. So going back to the naming convention, the S means it's the highest quality sensor that they could put in there. In this specifically is the 1280 by 1024 sensor, still 12 microns, and it does a 60 hertz refresh rate. So it's really high quality. In terms of the screen, you also get a really high resolution screen as well. So it's a super crisp device. Now, what would I use this for? As a handheld, and because it's so high quality, it's perfect for those doing night or day observation. For example, we were able to see a human figure, perfect silhouetted human figure at 500 plus meters, and we could tell if they had their hands in their pockets, if they were unzipping their jacket, all that fun stuff. So for those that need a really high quality sensor with a lot of zoom range and a really crispy image, range, Vista S50R is probably going to be what you want. So back to gun-mounted ones. This is their Slim series, and it's very specifically designed to go on top of a rifle. It actually comes with a rifle mount that you see us have attached here. You don't have to use that, but it comes convenient because it's meant to be attached to a firearm. Now this one very specifically is the Slim H35. H, still high quality. It's not their highest quality sensor, but it's getting up there. It does not have an R, which means there's no rangefinder on that one. Now, in terms of the sensor size for the Slim specifically, or the H35, is it's a 640 by 512. Again, 12 microns, and this is a 50 hertz refresh rate. With this, it's natively 2x magnification and it has a digital zoom on top of that. So again, for those using it on a firearm, if you need to get a little closer look to identify what you're shooting at, you do have that capability here. Like the Ace, because it's a firearm optic, the Slim is also rated for recoil. So again, you don't have to be afraid of your gun shaking this thing to death. And just like the Ace, this does capture footage for you. Okay, so both picture and video, and it's recoil activated, much like the Ace as well. All right, here's the difference. I got two at the same time. Why? Because they're actually both called the LUMI. All right, for trials, we actually brought in just two varying levels of LUMI, but they both operate pretty much in the same respect. Just one is a higher quality and one includes some different features. So the LUMI, much like the Vista, is meant to be a handheld observation device. Now, while it's not as high quality as the Vista, because that's its bigger brother in terms of models, essentially, this does still provide you the ability to have a small handheld observation device that's easily packable and carryable. Just to cover the gamut of model types within the LUMIs, in terms of laser rangefinder, you have this, the H35R, but you also have the L35R. Okay, so L, lower resolution sensor. Again, save some bucks if you don't need the high resolution, but you do need a laser rangefinder. In terms of the L19 here, this actually comes in a wide gamut. So you get the H35 no R, the L35 no R, the L19, as well as the P13. So again, from P to H, lowest to highest resolution, but without a laser rangefinder. Now, to note on that, okay, in our testing, we found that the laser rangefinder on the LUMIs, while totally functional, it totally gets overshadowed by the laser rangefinder on some of the other tools that will operate out to, say, a kilometer or so. This we found to be within 300 meters and such. So again, unless you absolutely need a laser rangefinder, we'd actually recommend maybe going with one that doesn't have it, just to save an extra couple bucks. You've got the full gamut of sensors available in the non-laser rangefinder one anyways. But again, if you do need the laser rangefinder, this is totally serviceable and totally does have that feature. So don't let us sway you. Pick your poison. All right, last but not least on my little tier list here of Nocpix products, this is called the Bolt. As you can see, it's obviously a rifle-mounted optic, much like the Ace was previously. Now, the Ace we kind of consider the bigger brother, okay? Now, the Bolt here features two models, either the L35R or what I've got in my hands here, the P25R. The one thing you will notice, I said R at the back end of both of those, and that's because the Bolt naturally and natively includes the laser rangefinder for you. It has the ability of taking number one 18650 battery as well as having onboard power, and that lends it to having a great battery life of almost 12 hours out in the field. Much like the Ace, this also does have the ability to capture your footage, right? So whether that be pictures or video, right on the onboard storage, you can export it out through USB-C. Now, because this is sort of the smaller brother of the Ace, where we found in testing this sort of fits in terms of a niche is that it becomes a perfect varmint or predator control optic on maybe a smaller caliber rifle. So one thing left to note here, and that is I got to talk about the scope rings. These are just example scope rings that we've thrown on this particular Bolt. Both the Ace and the Bolt don't come with a mounting solution or scope rings, but never fear, okay? We've got plenty of mounting solutions here for Night Solutions, so obviously just reach out to us or check out our site and we'll be able to set you up with a solution that works with either the Bolt or the Ace or both. So guys, there you have it. Here's a quick overview of some of the thermal devices from Nocpix that we've brought in. Now, we still are thinking about which models to bring in, so we might expand this in the future. And in terms of availability, we will carry the entire catalog on our Electro Optics North site. Now, in terms of that, some of those items will be in stock and some will be by special order. So just reach out to us and we'll figure it out with you. In terms of on the OpForce site, we will list select models, generally the higher end ones, and we will only list ones that we have in stock. So there won't be any confusion. But again, if you guys have dug what you've seen, check them out on either one of those sites. All the listings are already up and all the information's there. We'd be happy to help you out. Thank you as always for spending a few minutes with me, hopefully not 17 years. And until next time, have a